So what happens when your life, your photos, your success, everything you post online is stolen and twisted into a weapon? For one man, this wasn't just a hypothetical. It was the start of a journey that peeled back the layers of a shocking global crime network. We're talking about a factory of fraud, built on stolen identities, and, as we'll see, a whole lot of human suffering.
It's like I have built my own prison. I mean, just think about that for a second. That's what a digital entrepreneur named James Blake said when he realized the life he'd so carefully crafted online had been turned against him. Every successful post just became more ammunition for an army of scammers he couldn't see.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. It all kicked off with one person's digital life being completely hijacked. But what's crazy is how this one case ended up pulling back the curtain on a criminal underworld that's operating on a scale that is, frankly, really hard to wrap your head around.
So on one side, you've got the real James Blake. He's a successful guy, an entrepreneur, and yeah, he posts about his life and his cars as part of his personal brand. But on the other side, you have this fake James Blake, a sophisticated criminal persona that uses those exact same photos, that same life as the perfect bait for scams. The illusion was so seamless, it became a truly devastating weapon.
And how he found out is just bizarre. It starts with a random one-star review on his company page from an angry husband accusing him of having an affair with his wife. The husband even sends screenshots of his wife planning to marry this fake James. And from there, the floodgates just opened. A quick search revealed thousands, not hundreds, thousands of fake profiles on Instagram, LinkedIn, Tinder, you name it. They even use his dog Lily in a fake GoFundMe campaign. It was a complete digital invasion. But you know, James having his identity stolen, that's really only half the story. On the other side of this are the real people who fell for the scam, and the human cost they paid is just devastating.
The scammers, they have this playbook, and one of their key weapons is a psychological tactic known as love bombing. It's not random. It's a methodical process of just overwhelming someone with affection and attention to create this incredibly intense emotional bond, a bond that's built from the very beginning on a complete lie.
And this is what that actually sounds like. This is a direct quote from a scammer using James's face sent to a victim named Kate. This language, it's precision engineered. It's designed to break down your defenses, build absolute trust, and ultimately get you to participate in your own financial ruin. For Kate, those messages, that manufactured trust, it cost her everything. 30,000 pounds. That was her entire life savings, just gone, handed over to a person she truly believed she was in a loving relationship with. It's financial and emotional devastation, all rolled into one. So you'd think, okay, you see this happening, you report it, right? You try to fight back. Well, what James and countless other victims discovered is that they were up against a system that feels like it's almost designed to fail them. I mean, look at this journey. It's just a series of dead ends. You report the fake profiles to Meta. You get back an automated message, no community guideline violation. You go to the police, they tell you it's up to the social media sites to handle it. The fraud agency, they tell them identity theft itself isn't even a recordable crime. It's a bureaucratic nightmare where everyone just points the finger at someone else. And this is the core of the problem, right? As a lawyer in this story pointed out, if a national newspaper published this stuff, they would be liable. So why should a massive social media platform be any different? It's a critical legal loophole, and the criminals know it. And here's the kicker. Sure, you could try to challenge them in court, maybe set a new legal precedent. But the estimated cost to do that, we're talking well over 6 figures. It's completely out of reach for an ordinary person. The platforms know this, which means there's really no financial pressure for them to make any meaningful changes. But this is where the story takes an even darker, more shocking turn. Because the people behind the keyboards, the ones actually typing out those love-bombing messages, they're not who you think they are. The investigation leads away from some hacker's bedroom and into these massive fortified compounds in Southeast Asia. So you might be picturing some lone wolf scammer, but the reality is so much more organized and, frankly, so much more sinister. So who are these people really? Well, the answer reveals a brutal system of modern-day slavery. This type of organized scam has a name in the criminal underworld, and it is chilling. It's called pig butchering. It's a 2-step process. First, you'll build trust. You build that emotional connection. That's the fattening up part. Then, once the victim is completely invested, that's when you go in for the butchering, draining them of every single penny they have. And, in the cruelest twist of all,
the scammers themselves are very often victims. Here's how the pipeline works. A fake job for, say, a high-paying marketing role gets advertised on a platform like Facebook. Applicants, often educated people in their 20s, fly out to a place like Thailand for the job. And there, they're kidnapped, trafficked across the border, their passports are taken, and they're forced to work in these scam compounds under the threat of horrific violence.
And these operations are not just existing, they're exploding. Look at this. Satellite imagery of just one compound in Myanmar, called KK Park, shows it nearly tripling in size in just over a year. Every new building you see there is more space for more trafficked workers. It's proof of just how lucrative and completely unchecked this whole criminal enterprise has become.
Life inside these places is hell. Workers are forced into 16-hour shifts, 7 days a week. If they don't meet their scamming quotas, they're beaten or even electrocuted. One survivor reported being sold between different gangs 3 separate times. They're not employees, they're property.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, what you're looking at isn't just a scam anymore. It's an entire ecosystem of exploitation. It's a pyramid of abuse with very distinct layers, where each layer feeds the one above it.
And here's what it looks like. At the very bottom, you have the defrauded individuals, the people who lose their life savings. Right above them are the trafficked scammers, who are both perpetrators and victims themselves. Running the whole operation are transnational crime gangs. And at the very top, the layer that enables this entire structure to exist and to scale are the social media platforms, where both the scams and the human trafficking recruitment all take place.
In a really telling final note, after the makers of the documentary that we sourced this from notified Meta, the company finally started taking down some of the fake profiles. And for a moment, it felt like a small victory, but it was a short-lived one. Within days, brand new ones popped up to take their place. It's like playing whack-a-mole. It proves that just deleting profiles, it doesn't solve the fundamental problem at all.
Which really brings us to the final and most crucial question of all. When you have a global crime of this magnitude, involving fraud, human trafficking, and what is essentially modern slavery, and it is all enabled and scaled by a digital platform, where does the responsibility truly lie?